Julia Samuels, I'm really, really excited to talk to you today. You just brought out another book. Tell us a little what you do.
So lovely to be speaking to you and with and for and alongside women. I am a a big advocate for women. So I am a psychotherapist. I'm a practicing psychotherapist. I'm an author. I'm a podcaster. I'm a speaker. I My biggest love, I guess, is the connection and relationship with people, with my family, with my friends, with my clients, meeting you. I think at the center of everything that I do is the energy and the kind of excitement of connection, of relationship.
Thank you. I think we definitely have that in common. Julia, tell us a little bit how you got to where you are today. And I think it's very interesting to really start and see, what did you study? How was your training? How did you become the voice that you are today?
So I started as a volunteer with a very small bereavement charity called the Westminster Bereavement Service. And from there, I did 2 years training with an analytic organization, Westminster Pastoral Foundation. From there, I went to an institute called Metanoia and got a BA in counselling, person-centered counselling. And I guess the thing, and within a few years of training, I got my job at St Mary's Paddington, where I supported families where a baby and a child had died. And I think of St Mary's, which I'm still with. I'm on their ethics committee of Imperial College. I think of it as the mother and father of my professional self. I was there for 25 years. I supported hundreds, probably thousands of families in the face of the most devastating tragedies. Their babies dying, stillbirths, neonatal deaths, miscarriages, and then in the paediatrics from drowning or fires or road traffic accidents or bicycle accidents or meningitis, cancer, many different things. So I saw and worked with a lot of real, terrible, devastating, tragic losses. And as much as it was incredibly painful and demanding, it was also life-changing in that I realized what mattered most. I loved being part of the NHS. I loved my lanyard. I loved having the thing that beeps doors open. I loved belonging in the hospital. I've loved walking up the stairs to my room. I love that whole being part of something that's bigger and more important than you. That I was a tiny cog. It's a huge system. I love the relationships with doctors, the nurses, and we had a lot of dark humor and laughs. And we improved the service. So it felt incredibly meaningful. It was really hard work, incredibly badly paid. And from there, I helped launch and establish Child Bereavement UK, which is the leading charity now that supports children when a child dies and when a child grieves. And I'm founder patron. I've stepped down again after 25 years of sort of being actively involved. I was incredibly involved in raising funds, doing the strategy, being a trustee, doing a lot of teaching, taking a lot of our learning from families to doctors all over the world, actually, but mainly all through the UK. And so it was a time of my life where my children were growing up. And I really loved it. And it was, I had no public profile at all. I made speeches at conferences for doctors and nurses and health professionals, but it was a slog. It was incredibly unglamorous. I was in a room in a hospital with no window for 10 years. When I got a room with a window, it felt honestly like I'd won the Nobel Peace Prize. I was so excited. But it gave me unbelievable experiences and knowledge about so I also became a tutor at Metanoia, so I taught other counsellors. And I think those 25 years of being on the front line, of learning, of slogging, of catching trains at midnight on sopping wet stations on a cheap ticket because it was for the charity, all in shitty hotels, all that stuff, which I still do now, actually, when I go to festivals and things. But there's something about both the meaning of it and the grit of it, which was good for me. But the gift of it was the experiences, the unbelievable experiences I had with families, with professionals, teaching, working, learning, and growing. And I think when I then left St Mary's, and I still have a private practice, so that will always, I hope I'll be 95 sitting in my chair with a client in front of me, because that is my sort of main love. But once I began to have through my first book, Grief Works, which is now, I think, in 17 or 18 territories, it's been a big success. It came from a lot of experience. It wasn't like something I didn't really know. So I felt very, very confident. I haven't really I have an ambivalent relationship with speaking and having a public profile. Sometimes I think I shouldn't, and I feel a little bit ashamed, wanting attention. But on the other hand, I don't really feel scared about what I'm going to say. I'm very confident. I mean, people can disagree with me, and I quite like the disagreement, but I'm confident about the depth of my experience, because it comes from decades of slog, basically. And so I'm loving now the thing that the books, and I would suggest to other women, is finding a vehicle. The thing that the books has given me is it's opened doors to meeting someone like you, to going to all sorts of different places, meeting new people, having new opportunities. And that, for that stage in my life, so I was 57 when I wrote the book, which is probably quite old for a first book, but my children had left home. I married really young, so I married at 20. I'm still married, fortunately. So my children are all, my eldest daughter's 41 and my youngest son's 33. So by the time I was in my late 50s, I had a lot of energy and freedom. And not being owned by an NHS contract, I had more freedom to organise my diary. And it's been incredibly exciting. I've gone all over the world with my book. I've gone to China, America, Canada, Holland, all over the world. And I've loved it. And I think the thing I have loved so much is all the different experiences and people that I've met. It feels like a different version of being in the hospital. Like I'm really kind of taking in and absorbing and learning from these different types of experiences and relationships and work. But I have an unbelievable work ethic. I work unbelievably hard, I guess, is the other side of it.
Julia, thank you for all this incredible story, your story. I would be very interested to understand at what time did you understand that you have this resilience, strength, power to help people in their darkest moment? When did that dawn on you?
I don't think it was a moment. I mean, I think from your training as a therapist, you have to kind of look at your own childhood and your influences and why you're helping other people. And so I understood very early on that I have a kind of wired connection, a wired need to want to have close relationships. It's partly because I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. But also about my parents' experiences of unexpressed grief influenced me. So I never had a moment like now is my moment. But I think it's accumulative. I doubt if anybody has that kind of. I tell you what I did have. When I was volunteering for the Westminster Bereavement Service, the first time I went to support someone, so I was 30, I walked up like 10 flights of stairs of a council estate. I walked into this absolutely boiling flat and met this distraught, wonderful, but utterly devastated woman whose daughter had died on Christmas Eve. And although I knew nothing, and although I was scared, I knew that I was doing what I wanted to do. So that was absolutely, there was that moment. And I've had many moments like that when I've thought, this is what I want to be doing. I love what I'm doing. I feel so lucky to be doing what I do.
Thank you for sharing that, Julia. I think that's so incredible. What at what time did you think I want to write this all down? At what time did you think I've done this incredible, decades in that NHS system. I've got my private practice, but I've got more to share. How did that come about?
It came about because I did Desert Island Discs, and an agent, Felicity Rubenstein, heard me, and she wrote to me and said, I'm sure lots of people have wanted you to write a book. I'd love you to write a book. And I wrote back and said, no one has ever asked me to write a book. And I don't want to write a book. I've got nothing to say. And it's like homework forever. It's the last thing in the world I want to do. I know lots of people want to write a book. And she said, well, just come and have a cup of coffee with me. So I had a cup of coffee, and she said, maybe now isn't the right time, but you could write a proposal, and a proposal isn't like a book. It's like 10,000 words, and then see if you can get a decent deal to get it published. And I went, no. And for 3 months, I literally didn't think about it. And then I was here in this flat, actually. I remember it really well. I woke up one morning towards the end of July, and I'd seen her about 3 months before. And I thought, I am bonkers. No one has an agent who says you need to write a book. Everyone is looking for an agent. Do the work. So all through that summer, we go to summer in Scotland. I'd wake up in the morning early and I'd write my proposal and feel very inadequate. I left school at 16. I mean, I did my A-levels at 16 and I had a master's, but I've always had this thing, I'm not clever. I'm not clever. I'm the stupid one. I'm good at listening. I'm a good therapist, but I'm not clever. I'm not good with words. Anyhow, I did the proposal, which practically killed me. And I sent it off to her, and it was like sending it off to your headmistress. And I was kind of really scared that she was going to really find me out. Like, oh, sorry, I've made a mistake. No. Anyhow, she did do some changes on the proposal, but actually not that much. And then it went out to publishers, and we had a bidding war. And I got Penguin as my publisher. So I was really, really lucky. Really lucky.
Incredible, Julia. I'm reading your latest book.
Yeah.
Every family has a story, and I really enjoy it. And I think everything that you say is so important in all times, but especially now, in the times we live in now. And I think that I would love to know what your superpower is. What do you think you have that makes you so good at what you do?
I don't know that I have a superpower. I think I'm a really good listener, which some people think may be easy, but I think they pick up that when I'm listening, I really want to hear what's going on, and that I do it with a sense of a kind of a heart. I think they can feel that I care about them, and that's I hate all the words around this because they all sound so kind of, I don't know, fluffy and annoying. I'd like it to be concrete, like I could say it's like a machine and I've got this superpower. But I'm good. My superpower is I love relationships, and I'm good at making relationships. And I feel very lucky because I do think that is the thing that matters most in life. And the research backs it up. Our capacity to have good quality relationships does define the quality of our lives, both with our friendships, our work colleagues, our love relationships, our family relationships. I think they are, and basically that's love. What I'm really saying is that love really matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I always tell my children that as long as you stay on the side of love, you will have and always find the solution. So thank you for sharing that.
Can I just add one thing, is that where you love most, you also hate most and make your deepest mistakes. So love is not a simple thing. Love is not a soft skill. Love is really difficult.
Yeah, it's messy, but
yes.
the beautiful moments. Julia, what would your top tips be for other women at this point in time?
I think it's a combination of things. I think one is let yourself know the skills and the capacity you have. Like, give yourself the credit for your knowledge, trust yourself, believe in yourself. But I think a lot of it is this letting yourself know, because I think we have instinctively such a critical voice, and we go, and I do too, we go to criticism first. But I think once you have the criticism, you should kind of push that aside and then let yourself know the kind of strengths and the positives of what you've done to build your confidence. I think it really does help to have a capacity to adapt and change, and a kind of open mindset, so that you have the structure and you have the purpose and you have a kind of goal that you want to go for. I think really helps you and gives you a plan to head for, but also having the capacity to adapt and change and not throw it out if it isn't exactly as you want, you know, to listen to what is happening and allow yourself to meet what is happening with openness, and let yourself adapt if it isn't quite right. I think then you're more likely to get your outcomes. And I think if I had a third one, it would be about the other side of work, which is having fun and play and love and laughter. Like, do silly things, have a break, have days where I'm very good at having fun. I'm really good at doing silly things. I'm good at dancing in the kitchen. I'm not that brilliant at having a break. And I should take my own medicine. I'm good at having holidays, but like weekends, I tend to work. And I wish I didn't. So I wish I could swallow my own medicine. I'm not very good at it.
I think you must be doing so many things so right. Julia, my last question would be, what are your plans or dreams for your future? What are the things that are in the pipeline for you?
A new project that I'm excited about, that I'm going to launch in the autumn. So I do have new plans, but also I think my other plan is to kind of rest on my laurels a bit and slow down. So I'm very busy for the next few months doing masses of events. And then it might be quite nice to have what I call a fertile void, where I can kind of take in what I've done, have a time to reflect, have experiments. I think slowing down would be good.
Thank you for sharing all of this wisdom, Julia. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
It's a pleasure. It's lovely talking to you. And I think it's a great thing that you're doing. It's wonderful to hear. I want to hear the other voices of the other women and learn from them.
You will.